Yes guys, I am still using the OnePlus 7 Pro in mid 2021. Not even the start of 2021. Still in the middle of 2021. A big YouTuber like me with over 3,000 subscribers is still using this OnePlus 7 Pro. And I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I'm using this OnePlus 7 Pro over the many flagships that are currently out. Some of which I have already reviewed. But why am I still using this OnePlus 7 Pro? This is what today's video is about. So guys, just a quick backstory on this actual phone. I bought this phone in May 2019 and I do still have the receipt. But I did pre-order this phone directly from OnePlus and I have been using it ever since. And I still use it as my main phone to this day, and I'll be explaining why in just a sec. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I review other phones too, but I do tend to sell them off at the end of the review period because unfortunately I don't have the funds to be able to keep all those phones as well. Whenever I sell those phones off, so let's say I do a 2-month, 3-month review on the Galaxy S21 Ultra, I go ahead and sell it on eBay or whatever it is. I do go ahead and sell it on, and then I use the money for another phone. I buy another phone and then I review that phone. And once I sell the phones, I always do come back to this specific OnePlus 7 Pro. So one of the reasons I've picked this phone as my main phone over the 2 years that I've had it is because of raw performance. At first, when I did get this phone, it was very snappy, and it still is very snappy. I would say it's genuinely kept from 90 to 95% of its original performance, and that is pretty outstanding for a phone that's over 2 years old now. It does have the Snapdragon 855, which even in 2021 is no slouch. Just as a comparison, I know some people don't really care about benchmarks and all that kind of stuff, but just as a comparison, the Snapdragon 855, which is in this phone in 2021, compared to any other mid-range phone, such as let's say the Pixel 5, which has a Snapdragon 765G processor in it, the OnePlus still beats it in terms of raw performance. So that just shows you, even compared to the Pixel 5 in 2021, the OnePlus 7 Pro does still do outstandingly well. Everything I open up and close is very crispy, very smooth, no hiccups. I was going to go ahead and turn on the animations because I do have the actual animations turned off. So if you guys see here, it is pretty instant, but I didn't turn it on. I wanted to show you guys how I actually use the phone. So I do have animations off, just gives the phone a bit of a more snappy feeling to it. Opening up apps, closing apps, still very fast. No shade at Samsung, but I do realize with Samsung phones, if I do tend to keep them over a year or two, they do tend to become pretty slow in terms of opening and closing apps specifically. So a huge bonus here is that even after 2 years, apps open and close perfectly fine on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Next up, I want to go ahead and talk about this display. Now, I know some of you aren't huge fans of the curved display, but I still do believe that this is the best physical looking display on any smartphone, even to this day. The lack of a camera cutout and the thin bezels just give this phone such a futuristic look that not many phones, even 2021, do. I know even OnePlus have obviously brought the camera cutout back. Some people are fans of it, some people aren't, but I will talk about the selfie camera in just a sec as well. And another thing to point out is that the bezels on the phone, they are pretty thin, and the bottom chin is a little bit bigger than the top bezel. However, it isn't like those other phones that you might have seen on the market, which have a very fat bottom bezel. Which have a very fat bottom bezel and a very thin top bezel. Those type of phones I genuinely want to play table tennis with. I don't know what it is, but I do have to mention that the bezels are pretty nice and thin, and it does give it a very nice and clean look as well. Now, quickly touching on to the actual specs on the display, they aren't a slouch at all, even by 2021 standards. It is a 90Hz panel, and it is also a Quad HD panel, and it does run it simultaneously at Quad HD at 90Hz, unlike some other phones which even to this day don't run high refresh rate with high resolution at the same time. So yeah, it is a 90Hz 2K panel, or a Quad HD panel as some may call it. Very deep blacks, as you'd expect from an OLED display. Very contrasty, very nice looking display. And I just realized I've been saying a few too many times. And moving on to the battery life of this phone. Battery life is a big topic, obviously, and after 2 years of using a phone, you'd expect the battery life to deteriorate substantially. However, in my findings, I would still say it has kept around 90 to 95. 95 would be pushing it, but I still do believe it's kept 90% of its peak performance. So even now I can show you guys, if I go to the settings and I can go to battery, and I can go to screen usage since full charge. So as you guys can see right here, screen usage since full charge has been 5 hours and 10 minutes. So I did use the phone quite a lot today, just so I can give you guys a fair image of how the battery performs on a daily basis. This consists of a little bit of Google Maps, video watching, and your usual social media. I don't really play games on my phone anymore, so this is with general social media use and a bit of Google Maps and a bit of camera. So I'm at 41% right now, and I have actually got 5 hours and 10 minutes of screen on time, and that for me is outstanding. I mean, that is nothing short of amazing. On a phone that is genuinely over 2 years old now, I'm still getting 5 hours and 10 minutes of screen on time with 40% left. So mathematically, if my maths is correct, 8 to 9 hours of screen on time on a single charge at 90 Hz at Quad HD on a 2-year-old phone. And that guys is outstanding. I don't care what anyone tells me, that is insane battery life on a 2-year-old phone. But even, let's say worst case scenario, you do run out of battery or you're running very low throughout the day, this phone actually comes with a 30-watt warp charger, which obviously plugs in, and it is a USB-C charger, and it charges your phone very quickly. And a 30-watt charger isn't something you find very often, even in 2021 either, because no shade towards Samsung, because I do love Samsung phones, but Samsung phones still, even the S21 Ultra, which is an over £1,000 phone, and the Note 20 Ultra, they both come with 25-watt chargers even in 2021. So this just shows you how ahead of its time this OnePlus 7 Pro was. I do understand that there are other chargers which are faster. There are 50-watt chargers, I know there are 60-watt chargers. I am aware that there are faster chargers, but even compared to other flagships such as iPhones and Samsungs, the OnePlus 7 Pro still does phenomenally well. So I talked about the display being amazing, I talked about the battery life being amazing, I talked about the raw performance being pretty good as well in 2021. I'm going to move on to something I don't like so much about this phone, and that is the camera on this phone. Don't get me wrong, the cameras aren't awful, however it's not something you'd want to take with you on a photography trip per se. So the photographs do come out decently nice, however you do notice that they aren't the A-list pictures you'd be expecting from flagship devices in 2021. If you compare the pictures side by side with any other flagship in 2021, you can tell there is a difference in terms of camera quality, image sharpness, and just in general the distortion in the photos and the color sides. You guys can tell there is a difference between the OnePlus 7 Pro and the 12 Pro Max, or let's say any other flagship in 2021, but that is to be 100% expected, because this phone even at launch wasn't anywhere near $1,000, which I'm comparing to in 2021, and it did come in much cheaper, and it's 2 years old as well, so that is to be expected. But as I said, the cameras are not terrible to any stretch of the imagination. However, they also aren't the best. I would grade it, if I graded it out of 10, I would grade the cameras on this phone a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 in 2021. And the images and videos have improved over software over the years. However, they still don't obviously keep up with the 2021 flagships, if I'm being completely honest. But whilst we're on the topic of cameras, I want to go ahead and talk about the selfie camera on this phone, because it is motorized, and for me personally it has been working perfectly well. I haven't had any issues with the motorized camera whatsoever. Some owners of the OnePlus 7 Pro on Reddit have reported that the selfie cameras have been having some issues after the Android 11 update. I do believe that those issues would be fixed with a software update. However, it is worthy to mention that there are a few users out there who are having some issues with the motorized camera, but don't let that turn you off if you want to buy this phone in 2021, because the vast majority, I would say 98 to 99% of the people who have owned this phone have not had any issues with the motorized selfie camera. But as I said, that might be one of the main reasons why OnePlus have decided to bring back the camera cutout, just because of reliability. But as I said, the vast majority of people have never had any issues with the motorized camera, and the chances of you having issues with the motorized camera are pretty slim. So yeah, do keep that in mind, obviously, whenever you are looking to buy this phone. And next up, I want to talk about one of the other main reasons why I still use this phone to this day, and that being customizability and the software experience. The phone has been getting a load of software updates throughout the 2 years that I've had it. Every few months or every few weeks, you'd see me updating my phone. And even now, I am currently running on Android 11. So that just shows you that OnePlus haven't forgotten about this phone, and they are still sending it not daily updates, but a very, very frequent update to keep the phone's software up to date. And in terms of customizability, you guys can already see I don't have any labels on the bottom of my icons. It gives the phone a very clean look. And as you guys can see, I don't have my status bar on the top showing either. Obviously, I can access it by dragging down from the top, but that just shows you some of the customizability that you can do on this phone. And that's just some. For example, I can draw a circle on a lock screen to open up the camera. I don't have it enabled currently, but those are the type of customizability factors that you can expect when using a OnePlus device. And those type of features I literally die for. I love having nice, clean customizability on my Android device. From cool looking color themes to making unique shortcuts for different apps, you can pretty much do it all on this phone. This is my favorite software on any Android phone for previously mentioned immense customizability, but at the same time simplicity and the clutter-free approach you get from stock Google phones, and with a touch of spice added into stock Android to make the phone truly a unique experience for yourself. But other small features like the volume slider, which basically mutes, puts your phone on vibrate, or leaves your phone on loud. I do genuinely believe that it is a very underrated feature in my eyes, and the vast amount of customizability that comes with your Android phone is just amazing. And finally, just to touch on, they do have a pretty solid pair of speakers. I wouldn't say they would blow your socks off if you basically play music on it, but they do the job, and I would probably give the speakers a B- or just a B rating overall. Just a very solid pair of speakers, not going to blow your socks off, but won't disappoint you either. I would say it's got a sound split of around 20 to 80%, so 20% of the volume coming from the earpiece and 80% coming from the bottom firing speaker. So just in general, a very, very, very solid phone. You guys can call this phone a budget or mid-range phone in 2021. Because this phone actually right now, at the actual time of recording, you can buy a brand new OnePlus 7T Pro, so not even the OnePlus 7 Pro, a OnePlus 7T Pro for 350 Great British pounds, which comes to around $400, and the OnePlus 7 Pro coming in at 320 Great British pounds, which if converted into USD would be around about 360-ish odd dollars. So an absolute steal, genuinely an absolute steal for the amount of money you're paying and the phone you're getting. If someone's looking to buy a phone, there isn't any other phone I'd recommend besides this OnePlus 7 Pro, which has done me a solid 2 years and still going very, very strong. This is the phone I'd recommend, and I would hands down say this is the best phone I've used in this price bracket. But that's pretty much it for this video, lads. I hope you found it useful or entertaining or both. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye.